Owen Schroyer from the InfoWars War Room. You are now traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. That's a sign. Post up ahead of you. Your next stop, Prison Palace. I'm here now to introduce you to your guide. A maverick, a future legend, and FEMA camp princess. A televangelista, a soldier in the tyranny response team. It's none other than Priscilla. Buckle up, because if you don't understand it now, you soon will, and that's where the real ride begins. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to the Prison Palace. And you're here with your guide, Priscilla, the FEMA camp princess and televangelista. I got a big topic I feel like I gotta tell you about tonight. Did you know that in the old 60s Batman show, the boy who played Robin, his package was too big in his costume, and they were getting complaints from the Catholic Decency League? Oh, the TV executives, they saw about changing up the costume, but it was too difficult, so they pretty much tried to force him to take pills that would shrink his package. And he did it for 3 days. And then he's like, nah, this is gonna make me sterile, isn't it? Yes, it probably would have. You know, both the movie executives and the doctors suggested this to him, knowing full well that it could make him completely infertile. You want to hear something else crazy? Since at least the 60s with Vietnam, infertility has been a huge issue with the armed forces. It's not just what they're exposed to overseas and on duty. It's also all the treatments and all the pills they've been prescribed by the military doctors and recommended by the government to make them super soldiers. They've got amines, steroids, lots of other bad stuff, lots of other bad pills that didn't affect them very good, guys. Do they really care if it made them infertile? I don't think so. And you know what this really makes me think of? The kids that they're putting on hormone treatments and puberty blockers right now. You know, the ones that cause infertility? It's not good, guys.
I'm angry. What's gonna happen to the kids and the youth? And there's so many people who regret this. There's more and more and more coming out, and younger too, on puberty blockers, that been on puberty blockers. And I read one that he went on puberty blockers at 16, and now he's like 20 or 21, and he is like suicidal because his penis won't grow anymore. Like, it does damage. It makes me so angry. And what we're gonna get is a generation that's screwed up. That are screwed up when we get 30, 40-year-olds that are going to be like, what the fuck did I do when I was 16 or whatever, like, and you can't go back. You can't go back. I'm sad for myself, of course. Not in a victim kind of way, but in like, this process of mourning who I was is touch and go. So, but I'm sad for humanity and the children and what's gonna happen when they're screwed up. We're gonna see what's gonna happen, and I really, really hope that all these professionals get their friggin' karma, because I know that some of them don't realize and some of them might be brainwashed and whatever, but some of them know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. Cash cowing.
This is my life as someone who has been both chemically and surgically castrated. I am now owned by the pharmaceutical industry. Okay? This is not fun. This is not glamorous. This is not cool. This is not part of any trend, okay? This is serious shit. I have no freedom. I am owned by these, okay? Do you understand what it feels like? The thrill wears off very fast, okay? So if you think it's funny to mess around with hormones, don't, it's not fun. It's not fun. I hate this. I hate this. And I don't want to see anyone else go down a path that makes them reliant on this.
So here now we got the Hollywood executives, the government, the doctors, the schools. We got corporations and the entire news media to agree that if you don't want to transition your kid before they're 18, even though they could really regret it, and there's a lot of bad side effects, you need to have your kids taken away by CPS.
Democratic Virginia delegate Elizabeth Guzman is a social worker, and she's planning on reintroducing a bill in Richmond that she says would help protect LGBTQ children from their parents and guardians who may not be affirming of their child's sexual orientation and gender identity.
This is how we're gonna push back.
Her bill would expand the state's definition of child abuse and neglect to include parents who do not affirm their child's gender identity or sexual orientation.
There's an investigation also in place that is not only, from a social worker, but there's also a police investigation before we make the decision that there is going to be a CPS charge.
Trust the science. Trust the science.
My name is Chloe Cole. I'm 18, and my story is not hyperbole. Starting around the age of 12, I began to believe that I was transgender. This belief was not organic. All the media I consumed as a kid showed me how stupid and vulnerable being a girl was. All the sexualized images of women gave me an unrealistic expectation of womanhood. I spent a lot of time online, and quickly saw all the praise coming out as trans god on Instagram and other social media. I was a bit awkward in school and had some trouble making friends. Like many dysphoric children, I also suffer from a variety of mental health conditions, so I easily fell prey to the narrative that if I felt different and did not want to be a highly sexualized girl, I must be a boy. I obsessed over becoming a boy. I believed that all my insecurities and anxiety would magically disappear once I transitioned. The mental health professionals did not try to dissuade me of this delusional belief. I was fast-tracked into medical transition after I was diagnosed with dysphoria. In California, a child can pick their gender identity, and a care provider questioning that would be considered conversion therapy. This wasn't a misdiagnosis. It was mistreatment. My parents were told that the options were transition or suicide. They complied because they were not offered any other treatment solution for my distress. My distraught parents wanted me alive, so they listened to my doctors. I was placed on puberty blockers and testosterone after expressing my gender dysphoria to my therapist, and I was approved for a double mastectomy all by the age of 15. No one explored why I did not want to be a girl. More and more kids are falling for the false promise of happiness if they transition. Gender clinics in the US are turning a blind eye to European countries or pumping the brakes on this experiment on youth. Who here really believes that, as a 15-year-old, I should have had my healthy breast removed, or that should have been an option?
And the thing is, they all say that if you don't let these kids transition to their preferred gender when they're younger, they could ruin themselves. But the thing is anybody thinking about that? There's studies now that say they're more likely to after they transition.
You just, it's like talking with diabetic complications with a 14-year-old. They don't care. They're not going to die. They're going to live forever, right? So I think when we're doing informed consent, I know that that's still a big lacuna of that we do it. We try to talk about it, but most of the kids are nowhere in any kind of a frightened space to really, really, really talk about it in a serious way. That's always bothered me, but we still want the kids to be happier in the moment.
Trust the science. Are you gonna trust the science? Are you gonna trust the science this time? You're gonna trust that?
Videos also show financial incentives, as one doctor gushed about how much the procedures bring in.
It's a lot of money. These surgeries make a lot of money. So female to male chest reconstruction could bring in $40,000. A patient just on routine hormone treatment, who I'm only seeing a few times a year, can bring in several thousand.
Trust the science. Trust the science, right? Ooh, trust the science.
Children and medical transition. I medically transitioned 3 years ago by going on hormones. I went off 6 months ago because my baseline of health before hormones got progressively worse with hormones. I went off and my baseline is back to normal. So for medical reasons, I went off. There simply aren't enough non-biased studies on the long-term effects of neurological and mental health impact of prepubescent children going on hormones. And what we don't know should be disclosed as the highest risk when asking questions to doctors, but it's not. As far as gender dysphoria, the sense of feeling alienated in your body, particularly around gender constructs, ideologies, and feelings, if most adults can't wrap their heads around that alienation, how are kids able to with limited lived experiences? Arguably, transitioning to feel like a gender reinforces negative gender stereotypes and constructs.
Now, to all you young folks out there, just remember Deuteronomy 22, but Joseph never killed nobody. Joseph never hurt nobody. Joseph never took away your reproductive capability. I say, please, can y'all stick to that before you're adults? That's just a suggestion. Because you gotta understand. You gotta understand. We just don't want other kids who may see it as a trend to go ahead and do that and then regret it for the rest of their lives. Let's not do that. Mwah.